Leslie, welcome to the show. I'm pressing recording now, even though we were just chatting, and I just said to you, I'm getting these waves of feminist rage, and I don't know if it's my hormones or the times. Let's talk.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I've been writing about this. I've been meditating on it. I've been seeing it show up in my life and in my friends' lives and on the collective. Like we're in a time of the. I feel like it's the masculine, the toxic masculine coming out and like being revealed in such a large way on the personal, relational, global level. See it everywhere. We see it in our bodies and our lives, and it's like such an important time to heal. And then the feminine that's been oppressed for so long, we have to like come out. Like this is the medicine. Like I feel like we're going through a human initiation, and the medicine is for the divine feminine to awaken and to emerge like with such rage. So we're birthing like this divine feminine. I feel like the contractions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know how it is for you in your relationship, but I feel like I've been taking it out on my man recently, and I'm like, ugh, I don't think he deserves it, but I'm like, he's there and he's male.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
But seriously, I mean, I know we're getting so intimate so fast, but here it
Yeah.
is, you know,
Yeah.
does that happen with you and with your man in your relationship where you feel
Well,
like,
I'm not seeing it so much with my husband because we are in such, like, we go in ceremony. This is what we do. Like, all those instruments back there are his, and I do the movement. So we're
yeah.
constantly moving the energy and dancing between the divine feminine and masculine. We've been doing it for 18 years. And it really, we've been able to metabolize a lot of the things. I'm not
Mm,
saying by any means it's perfect. It's a practice that we do constantly. So I'm seeing it more in like
mhm.
in my family lineage. I'm observing it with like the patriarchal lineage. And without getting in or throwing anyone under the bus or getting into too many of the weeds of it, I would just say, in general, um, there's a very challenging relationship that I'm having right now. And after my mother passed away, and one of my brothers passed away, and I'm noticing like very similar patterns that are happening in the world and the political scene and the just like that toxic masculinity of wanting to oppress and to hold back and the power over paradigm.
Mm,
And I'm seeing it, and I'm actually sending a lot of love.
mm,
And just the other day in my meditation, I got to the point where I said, well, if I can see it in this person who's holding this, then it's actually inside of me. So instead of wanting the
mm.
person to change and transform, I can actually do it within myself. It's like
Okay,
that
this is
drop of
so
water.
important. It's so important what you're saying. Because yes, I think patriarchy is everywhere. It's white on rice. Um, so let's talk through this. So we're seeing it, let's say we're seeing it outside of us and we have this sense of rage, right? And it could be towards the president, it could be towards the boyfriend, the father, the boss, or in a woman, right? It doesn't have to be in a
Sure.
man, but we're seeing it somewhere and we see it as outside of us, or we see it in a structure, a power structure. How do we then, okay, maybe we can't even see it inside us. Is it worth saying, I'm going to assume this is inside me if I can see it outside of me? Shall I also assume that this is inside of me and start working on it here? And if so, how do we do that?
Yeah. I mean, awareness is the first thing. And so it's like being socialized. For example, I often talk about colonization. I talk about, the impact on colonization on black and brown bodies, on women, on indigenous people. But ultimately, if you've been socialized in a system, which I have been, so I'm the first person to say I've been colonized, I have a colonized mind. So when I'm aware of that, even though it's like I'm saying, wow, colonization did so much harm on the earth, it's done so much harm on our relationships, it's done so much harm on me and my ancestors. However, it's like there's some at some point the oppressed becomes the oppressor in a sense.
Mm.
So because it's like that, I've been socialized into the conquering and dividing, the patriarchal system. I've been socialized in that, and so when I become aware of it's just in me, just the way, like even the messages around me, like in media, and it's insidious. It's so
Yeah, I mean,
deep.
let's talk about like how. I mean, do you mean things like, the idea of success, like someone being more successful or like needing to make more money, be more successful, put on a better show, get the accolades and all of that kind of shit that we're all so
All of
steeped
those
in?
things. All of
Yeah.
those things.
So hard to unlearn because that's what we're seeing, right? It was like I was in this women's group last night and it was powerful. It was all these women from, well, I didn't know where they were all from. They were from different places, but they were all ages, which was powerful, right? But the woman leading was talking about alternative currencies, and I've started thinking about that recently. And it's hard to keep a hold on it because you're like, yeah, it's really great the idea that love is money, but I still have to pay the bills. I still got this rent in my flat in Venice and it's steep. And it's true.
Yes.
And it's not true,
Yes.
right? Because it's also true that, well, I may have to pay that rent, and I do have to get that money. I also am receiving so much from these conversations that I'm having and from the way that I can receive help and give help to other people. And I mean, other currencies totally exist, but they're not given as much credit, literally. So how do we do that? How do we remember? How do we reinforce? How do we set up these different kinds of currencies?
Hmm. Exactly. Because it's all energy, right? It's
Yeah,
all energy, and
yeah.
it's like that's why I say the socialization. The it's like a mental slavery in a sense, like that limitation in the mind. What
Mm,
I'm saying right now is the most important real estate right now is the real estate of our minds. It's the
mm.
real state of your mind, the state of your
Oh,
mind,
I like that. Yes,
right?
yes, yeah. The
So
real estate of
it's
your mind.
it's like it's even the language that we use. I feel like we need a language revolution because the language is limiting in a sense. It's like
Mm,
it's been in this paradigm of
mm,
power over.
mm.
So it's like how do we actually start looking at our minds, mind our minds, become stewards of our own minds, and say, okay, yes, that is what I've been socialized to believe, that money, yeah, I've got to pay my bills, and that's the real thing because it's a manifestation of our energy and of our vibrational thought pattern. And what if I go a little bit outside of that to reimagine what else? The and. It's not
Mm,
the only, it's there's the and the
mm.
possibilities and the infinite possibilities.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as you're talking, I'm thinking about how we met, which was in Costa Rica
Yeah.
on this beautiful retreat at Blue Spirit. And what would happen, and you were teaching and I was, attending, and as an attendee we would go from the meditation room, I think was called like the sky room, is that right? So
Sky,
it's
it was Sky
Sky Lodge,
Mind
Sky
Hall.
Mind. Okay, so
Mind.
yeah, yeah. So we would, and Sky Mind Hall was like at the top of this building, and it's so funny because it's in a way it's how like patriarchy creeps in even to a mindfulness retreat, and so we're like going from like this, and we had these beautiful teachers, and it was so great, but we were also essentially like, you know, sitting cross-legged in stillness inside our own minds in this kind of privileged position at the top of what could have been a tower. And so then, okay, great. So we're having the spirits of like trying to get enlightened inside our own minds. Awesome, awesome. great. And then, and sometimes feeling something and sometimes not. And then we go down the stairs, and we're like, okay, now I get to go to this other thing, this workshop. And I would go down, down, down into where the trees were. And there was this beautiful room in the trees. And inside the room, there was you. And there was your man. And there were the drums. And we weren't sitting cross legged. We were in a circle and we were moving our bodies and we were listening to the drums. And you were guiding us in these different kinds of gestures. One I'm thinking of now is where we would like move around the room and do this kind of gesture of offering from the heart. So, like moving our hands out and offering love, for want of a better word, to each other. And it was non-verbal and it was non-heady and it was like completely embodied. And I have to say, I felt such relief. I was like, yes, this is it. This is it. It's not about us sitting cross-legged. I mean, yes, it's beautiful. Meditation is great. And I think it's very important and it has its function. But I just feel like, come on, this is time to gather and be looking each other in the eyes and establishing an alternative currency, which you can't do if your eyes are closed and you're sat somewhere on your own.
That's it.
It doesn't work.
That's it.
It's like,
wow.
so thank you.
Well, thank you. I love hearing how that whole journey, because I've been teaching there, so it's a whole different perspective to hear what your journey was, going from the Sky Mind Hall all the way down. And in fact, for years, we've been teaching there for 9 years. We used to be up at the Sky Mind Hall for so long. And then they wanted to move the movement classes down into this other studio, which was interesting because when we're up in the Sky Mind Hall and we're doing that movement, we're actually, because for those of you who are listening, it's like you're looking at the ocean, you're looking at another ocean, you're looking at you're really, it's such an opening, like, of your mind and your body and your spirit. So we use every part of that studio. So it was interesting going down into the other part, which didn't feel like you couldn't have that visual opening. However, it was like, wherever we go, we make it work, because we're working with nature. And we were surrounded, we were more in the jungle, which was amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Went to the roots.
Went to the roots.
Went to the roots, and we were surrounded by roots.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah. And it was after your closing class when, for me, the retreat kind of came together because we all went to the ocean and the sun was setting and we got in the ocean and somehow the group had bonded. And I say somehow, actually, it bonded because of your work, because the other work was beautiful, but it wasn't about people coming together. And so you helped us come together. And then together we got in the ocean and the sun was setting and we started to sing. And it was like this euphoric moment of this group of people singing in the ocean together. And it was completely psychedelic in the sense of like complete fusion, unity consciousness. Hell yes. I was like,
Hell
yes,
yes.
this is it. This is it.
Yes.
This is it. And wow, what an interesting time to be in, that we can see this. And I think your work's amazing. I know you've been at it for a long time and I want to hear a bit more about your journey, but I remember like how you and I kind of broke the ice as I came up to you and I was like, thank you for your patience. You're essentially teaching a group of like middle-aged white people how to move their hips. And I was like, I can't believe your patience. Like, you're a fucking saint, Thank you for doing this. I was embarrassed, I was like, oh my God, like, this is crazy. We're so disconnected. And thank you for doing this work,
Of course. It's essential. It's
Yeah.
essential. It's what we need now. It's like, I don't know if you were there when I led the whole embodied storytelling about the eagle and the condor,
Yeah.
and like reclaiming our sacred instructions, and all the energy in the hips. That's like our sacred, divine center of creativity. So it's like it's been so cut off I mean, so many people and so many cultures are told, do not move your hips. Like
Right. I mean,
that.
even in traditional or old school, how do you define yourself compared to like other yoga traditions? Let's talk about that and like how the role of the hips. Yeah.
Right. Well, it is a combination of dances of the African diaspora and yoga. And so we actually connect yoga to ancient Egypt. That was like way back. And
Mm,
back in like when ancient Egypt, there was a migration between India and Africa, and a lot of the information was exchanged. So in terms of like that whole like movement, a lot of the uh, Indian yoga was also connected to dance. That sacred energy, moving that kundalini energy and that flow. So you're working with like, the earth and the sky and like the heart energy. And so it's like, it's probably like, not till it got to the West and even in Europe, some parts it became very like gymnastics oriented,
mm.
very linear, and very sharp, and you put yourself in these movements. I mean, the origins of yoga was really meditation, connecting with the divine, that flow of and the life force energy. Yeah.
So how did you start? Like, tell me about starting Afro yoga and your kind of mission with it,
Yeah,
your
I hear
relationship to
my
it.
husband in my head, Jeff is his name, saying it's Afro Flow
Oh,
Yoga.
excuse me.
So right, so it's like
Flow
the
yoga.
Afro
Yeah.
Flow, because there's
Yeah.
the water element is so important,
Mm,
and the
hmm.
flow of energy and chi. And so my story is, and I also want to say, Jane, that we talked about my mom, and we'll talk maybe a little
Yeah.
bit later because we had such an amazing
I know. I
connection.
want to talk about that. Yeah.
So my background is my ancestors. I always start with my ancestors.
Mm.
They were three of my ancestors were from Jamaica, and my only grandparent I knew was my Scottish Irish Canadian grandmother. So I actually grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. My aunt had a ballet studio, so I started at age 7 in ballet, and then my parents started this whole organization called Black Heritage, where we would go on the weekends, we'd learn African dance, we'd learn culture, we'd learn all kinds of things. But so I really had to like drop it down into my body. And as I was doing that, I could feel myself awakening. Like I could feel my Jamaican ancestors, like the strength of them. And so, in answer to your question, dance was something, it was my gateway into yoga because when I was 13, I saw this dance company come to Toronto, Canada, where I was born, called Alvin Ailey. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I don't think so.
Look it up. For your
Okay.
audience members, look it up. Alvin Ailey. He was one of the first African American choreographers. It's one of the largest toured companies, dance companies, contemporary in the world. And when I was 13, they came to Toronto and it blew my mind. It was like watching people leap through the air with so much grace and strength and sensuality, and just like it was a spirituality. It was like all of the things together. And I said, that's what I want to do. So after I went through I call it my dark night of the soul. When I was about 21, I had to remember what gave me life, and I remembered my dance because I quit for a while, and then I remembered my dream to train at Alvin Ailey. So I went to New York. I just was like, one day I was like, I'm going to New York, and I went and auditioned, and I got to the into the school, and it just changed my life. And yoga was a requirement. So that was like way back in 1991.
Mm.
And it was a requirement. So dance and yoga for me have always been interconnected. And it just really helped me transform on all levels of my being.
And was that where you met your husband? Like, how did the
Uh,
drumming and the music and the
yeah.
husband come in?
Yeah, the husband,
The
Jeff.
husband.
Amazing
The
husband.
best.
By the way,
Yeah.
I'm sitting in the house that's been in his family for
Mm.
111 years.
Oh, wow.
And that bass back there, that was his father's bass that his father used to play with Billie Holiday, Sammy Davis Jr. I don't know if you've heard of these
Mm,
folks, but yeah. So we have like
beautiful. Yeah.
yeah. So we have the like. So I was actually doing a cleanse when in 1994 I realized I was like just not feeling myself. I was just like in really challenging relationships. It's kind of a long story, but like I was doing a musical in LA and then I came back to shoot a 5-page spread to be on the cover of a magazine called Black Elegance magazine, a
Beautiful.
5-page spread. And I felt so disgusting. Like I showed up and I said to the editor, I'm not worthy. I'm not like I was a mess internally. I looked fine externally, but because I was a mess internally, I didn't feel like I looked fine on the outside. So she said to me, you need to heal yourself. And she gave me this book called Heal Thyself. And it was by this woman, Queen Afua, who's an amazing, amazing, incredible woman, changed my life. Really,
Beautiful.
she has a whole program called Liberation Through Purification, which meant
Mm,
like 21-day fast, cleansing mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. I had to do spiritual baths. I did this for many, many years. But like the first time I did it, I cleared everything, all the toxic relationships, all the toxins. And then I was with this lovely guy that I met. And I broke up with him the night before I met my husband because I said, you are such a beautiful soul. And I have a lot of toxins coming out right now. And I need to heal myself. So he gave me like 6 months. And then I met Jeff on the plane the next morning.
and you didn't say the same thing to Jeff.
No, I actually did.
Oh,
I
you did.
really did. But the
Okay.
difference was Jeff gave me my space and still kept me engaged. Like he came and met my family. Like we went deep, and he also let me do my healing practice, which I knew. I was like, okay, he gets
That's
it.
the ticket.
Totally
Yeah.
gets it.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. And did you start collaborating from the get-go? I
Mm.
imagine he was a musician then and
Yeah, so Jeff was on sabbatical for 9 months. He's also an engineer, so he decided to take 9 months, go to all throughout West Africa, do a CD, focus on his music. So he was kind of like in a free spirit space. And so our first collaboration was really I was invited to do choreography for this big international hair show in New York. It's called Intercoiffure, and I had dancers and I had to hire musicians. So I was like, "Hey, come on!" So we collaborated with that, and it was it was pretty seamless. Like
mm,
it just felt like Jeff is amazingly intuitive.
yeah.
Did you notice that?
Oh yeah, 100%. I was like, wow, this guy is so versatile and you guys are so you are seamless together.
Oh, thank you. I mean,
And that's what
we
it felt
call
like
it,
to me. Yeah.
it's our therapy, Jane. Afro
Therapy
Flow
for the two of
Yoga.
you.
Well, Afro Flow Yoga has
Because it
been
was
my
therapy for me
therapy.
too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's like because if we come in, if we have like some challenges, we can't bring that into the session. Otherwise, people would get harmed. Can you imagine if I was like, "You bastard," like? So we have
Hmm.
to really clear our energy before we sit in this beautiful ceremony. And then once we're in that, we have no choice but to harmonize because we nothing is rehearsed or talked about. Like we are completely in flow of listening and channeling the ancestors and listening
Yeah,
to
you
each
have to be
other.
completely together. You can't have kinks in the connection.
Right.
So how do you clear your energy?
Yeah. So there's certain things that I do. Of course,
The good
always have
old
my
sage
sage.
one.
This is
The
like
heavy hitter, this old
this is the
chestnut.
one.
Yeah.
I'll go around, clear all of the sage. And then
Yeah.
also, one of the things that I do, other than all my crystals and things, it's like
Mm.
I say a little prayer, like I root down and I get out of the way of
You
myself.
get out of the way.
I get out
Yeah.
of the way. I mean,
So you
I'm,
you make that an intention. I'm going to get out of the way of
oh
myself.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because
It's
I'm
always a good
limited.
idea. Yeah.
I'm limited, like.
Mm.
So when I get out of the way and I invite whatever energy or ancestors or whoever needs healing, whatever energies need to come in for this circle, and then I start, and then I get out of the way so that the energy can flow through. Otherwise, I'll block it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, in terms of the relationship, would you say you both do your work separately and then you come together? Like you'll both do your whatever, your meditation, your prayer, your sage, your ritual with the intention of being clear channels when you come together?
Yes, and
Yeah.
sometimes we do. I say what has also been the saving grace of our marriage, and it'll be 29 years in August. We've had rough
Congratulations.
patches. I'm not saying we haven't. The
Yeah.
saving grace is that we've done rituals together.
Let's
So
talk
we
about
have,
that. Yeah.
yeah, we have done rituals together. We have certain things like during the pandemic, we created a ritual where we do back to back, we do eye gazing, back to back meditation, then we stretch each other out, and then we meditate.
Oh,
And that
this
was
is
what we
cool.
did.
Okay. I love this. So wait, eye gazing, I know. How long will you do that for?
It was fun. In the beginning, it was really hard. It was like,
Yeah.
Jeff couldn't stop laughing, and it was
Sweet.
like
That's so
so
cute.
awkward.
Yeah.
And then it could last. I mean, I don't think we ever really timed it. I think it
Yeah.
was until we could feel it out.
Until it
We do
worked.
it
Yeah.
until it. I mean, we were in the pandemic. There was no one else to look at.
There was nothing else to do.
Right,
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
So we really committed to that, and then we did then we would do a back to back
I've
meditation, which
never heard of back-to-back meditation. That's so cool.
I think
So,
we just created. I don't know. We
yeah.
just,
So you
I,
sit with your your spines
mhm.
aligned against each other's.
Yeah, you sit
Yeah.
and you do meditation, and we were doing mantra meditation, and then we got into this stretching thing. So like if I would lay back, and he would be stretching forward, and then we go forward and back, and we started this whole amazing stretching routine, and then we'd sit and meditate, and that was like what we do every day, and it
Sounds like a
really.
good couples workshop. I think you're onto something.
Actually, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yeah.
actually,
I
yeah,
wish it
because
wasn't.
actually
Yeah.
in that it was very interesting, Jane, because in that time, what came up were a lot of patterns that were toxic, like not serving us. Like, because
Mm.
after so many years, some patterns are healthy and some aren't.
Can you
And
give an
so,
example?
yeah, like, well, one example I'd say is like, I noticed there when he would do things that would really drive me up the wall. Like he would do things and I would fixate
Yeah.
on, like, don't why are you doing that? Like I really put too much energy into him changing. And I know this. I
Into
know
being
this
annoyed, because it's fun, isn't it? It's kind of addictive being annoyed.
a little bit, but then
Yeah.
it's not. After a while it's
It's
just
not
like it's
really fun, but
yeah,
it can hook you.
it can hook you. So
Yeah.
I noticed that pattern as we slowed down during the pandemic. And then I was like, you know what? And because a lot of it was out of worry, like he'd eat like a lot of pie, for example. He'd come home and he'd like eat a whole pecan pie every day. He'd just eat a whole pecan pie. And I'm like, how could this be good for your system? Like, and so I'd worry, is he going to get diabetes? I'm going to be the one having to care for, all the things that go in the head. So I'd say, I feel like I'm like trying to help myself too.
Are
Like,
you sure you weren't just jealous? Because I think I would have been jealous.
probably some of that too. Exactly. So then I was like, that's just an example of things that
Yeah.
he did. And he
Yeah.
looks great. Like, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable. And
Yeah.
so I was like, you know what? I'm going to free fall. I'm going to just let go of all those things that I'm worried about, of his behaviors. He's a grown man, and I'm going to free fall. I'm just going to let it see where it lands. And
Interesting
maybe,
choice of words, this free falling, isn't it?
yeah,
I love that because it brings attention to what the opposite of free falling is, which is kind of clinging, maybe.
exactly. I was clinging. I was a clinger.
Yeah, and I think that clinging, I definitely cling and I see how it seeps in. It's sort of like a subtle codependency. And I think, why am I doing this? It will be, yeah, exactly that kind of thing, a fixation on a small annoyance. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Am I trying to sabotage? Maybe, maybe not, right? But sometimes what it is literally avoidance of taking full responsibility for the limitless nature of reality, just being like, I'd rather think about somebody, how annoying it is that someone's eating a cake.
That's it. That's genius. That's it. It's so, so, so true.
And what
Wow.
you're saying is, yeah, falling. I mean, gosh,
Yeah.
right? Letting everything just be. I mean, that's an art.
Yeah. So that was one of the gifts of the pandemic for sure. And I feel there's a lot more spaciousness in the relationship now and less bickering. And, it's just like we're at a different level now, but who knows what tomorrow will bring. Right now, this is what I could speak to now.
Yeah. Well, you certainly you modeled being a next level couple, and it's a beautiful thing to be a part of. I don't think that you could generate that experience, the two of you together, without some real genuineness there. And I mean, the whole thing felt so genuine to me. And at the heart of it is this drumming and this connection to the earth. And I've been thinking about that in different ways from different angles recently, because EMDR, which I practice, is a kind of a tapping practice.
Hmm.
So it gets you into that kind of essential rhythm and sort of the harmonizing of the mind to be harmonized with the heart, to be harmonized with the body. And something so essential about that tap, 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 the reassurance of the repetitive rhythm. And then I think about, okay, the drum, well, that's been around for quite a while, and that repetitive beat. And then we've got all these people all over the world dancing to EDM, which is also a repetitive beat, stamping on the earth. Anyone would think we're trying to get back to something. What is going on? Like, tell me, what do you think about the drum and the
Yeah.
heartbeat and the
Yeah.
relevance now?
Yeah. I often say the first drum is the heart. It's
Mm.
when we hear the rhythm of our mama in the womb, that rhythm. And it's like, I was thinking a lot about this, like being in the womb and then hearing your mother's heartbeat and being in that warm place and feeling that sense of like being held and secure. I mean, if that's, I'm only imagining that's the experience. And then coming through this birth canal, that must be terrifying in a way, like you're being pushed and squeezed, and then you come out and it's like bright lights and it's like people like talking, and it's just like this whole thing. And then if you're fortunate enough to be put back to the rhythm on your mother's heart, it's like, okay, I made it through that initiation. It's like the regulation of the heartbeat. The other thing is we work with a lot of indigenous cultures, and one of my teachers, his name's Arkan Lashwella, and he has a book called The Time of the Black Jaguar. And in one of the chapters, he talks about his family, how they grew up in the Andes on the mountains, and there was like this ancient civilization that had been uncovered, and all they found were musical instruments. They didn't find any
Mm.
weapons.
I love that. That gave me chills. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
The Black Jaguar is such a strong mythic creature as well. It's there in kind of more like ayahuasca traditions.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, the Black Jaguar comes to particularly to like single mums
Mm.
and women in abusive relationships, and
Wow.
women who are like on their own and need empowerment.
Ooh,
It's kind
I
of an
love that.
interesting sign of the times, perhaps.
Yeah, definitely. I
Do you
mean, that,
feel, yeah, sorry,
go
you go.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking about the times and wondering if you're, because you've been doing this work for a while. It's not new. It's new. Your work is new to me, but it's not new to you. You've hosted so many groups for so many years. Are you noticing that the receptiveness to your work is changing as the times change? Do you feel like the
Wow,
response is rising?
that is such a great question. It's so interesting that you say that. And I do feel that people are starting to come into more of an awareness and the importance of embodied practice. And like, it's like, it seems like it's taking some time, but like even in therapy, we're doing a lot, with Bessel van der Kolk and the trauma conferences. And we have a lot of therapists who are coming to our trainings now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like what we're bringing forward is what's already been here, and in ancient traditions and in all cultures. And so in West Africa, we have something called the Sankofa. The Sankofa medicine is a symbol of a bird reaching back to its tail and getting the wisdom and bringing it to the present for future generations. And there's also another symbol of it, a turning inward of your heart. So it's like a return. So it's like that beautiful return. So I'm feeling that we are coming to that. Like there's a rise. I also studied ancient Egyptian spirituality. I'll try to explain this. I teach this. The vibration, energy is vibration. And in ancient Egypt, people aspired. Our ancestors aspired to be like the cosmos, the stars. They, in fact, built the pyramids five-pointed to be like the stars, the manifestation of the universe on Earth, the material. And so as we've evolved, we've like gone down, like we've descended into the world of material. And the world of material is very dense. Like, it's still energy, it's still vibration, but it's very heavy, dense. And so it's like if you think of a pyramid, you think of a V, it's like upside down, right? So we've gone down into this. It's like as above is below. There's no separation. So it's like the imitation of what's above. So
Mm-hmm.
as we go down into this place, we actually are now aspiring to be like stars, but on Instagram, on TV. Like it's a different, right? We have the aspiration, but this is like we're aspiring in the material world. So
Yeah.
now there's a flip, and we're kind of at that flip where we're making our ascension back up. This is the rise of yoga and mindfulness and all of these things, making our ascension back up into spiritualization. So it's like we're on a journey,
Mm.
and we've never really left home, but we think we've left home because we can't see it. And
Yeah,
so
the
home is here.
Instagram bit just drove home the sort of the divine comedy of the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Gosh, can we go to Egypt?
My sister, who is an amazing, beautiful goddess,
Hmm.
her name's Heather Salmon, and she has a temple. Like she's a beautiful retreat center in Maui called Black Swan Temple, and she leads retreats in Egypt.
Amazing.
So yes,
Okay.
you should go.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do that. That sounds
Absolutely.
incredible. I love
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
I love that. Um, I'm trying to remember how we figured out that you and I had the same picture on our phone. We have the same screensaver.
It was. I was trying to figure that out. Also, do you mean the one with the? Wait,
So
wait.
I still have it
Yeah.
on
Oh,
my phone. Do
yes.
you?
Well, actually, I have now. I did change it to a. What do you have?
My phone's off. I actually turned it off.
Oh, okay, okay.
But I
Mine's a
remember we
sunset.
you
What?
had a sunset. You and I both had the Blue Angel.
Yes. Well, yes. Mine is on the back of my phone.
Okay, okay. And I
That's
had it as a
right.
screensaver, and I
Yeah.
guess we were swapping numbers. And I was like, wait a
Yes.
minute, because you had a picture of your mother with these blue
Yes.
wings, and
I'm going to
my
share.
daughter had done a picture of this angel just from her imagination. Oh, yeah, thank you for that's it.
Yes.
That's it.
And
And we couldn't believe it.
it was amazing. I mean, I was just blown away by your daughter channeling this. Like that, what your daughter drew looked. I was just showing someone last night,
Yeah, I'm
actually.
gonna try and
Yeah, if you
pull
can
it up
find it,
while we're talking. Yeah.
it was just like remarkable, like her wisdom. And it said "Mama" on it, and this is my mom. Like, and it said, and then
I
they had the
know.
triangles above, and it was like,
Okay, I've got it. Wait.
you have it. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Let's put these up.
I mean, come
Holy moly! Oh,
on.
you have to
Wait,
touch
hold
your.
on.
It's
What
it's
the
like
hell?
what? It was. You can't make these things up.
It was so great because we were talking about the Great Mother and this
Yes.
idea of the sort of the mother archetype that we're looking to return home to through the drum to the essential heartbeat, this sort of homecoming. And I was like, are we all channeling this together, some more than others, like my daughter, your mother?
Yeah. It feels that way.
Feels that way.
It feels that way.
And the archetype is Yama.
Oh yes. So
Yes,
Yemaya,
Yama
Yemaya.
Ya.
That's
Yeah,
right. We were talking about that also for people
yeah.
who are listening and don't know Yemaya. Yemaya was a in West Africa. We called it the Orisha. It's a Yoruba tradition, and there's different Orishas which are represent the earth. So Yemaya represents the ocean. She's the maternal, beautiful, powerful goddess, and she wears like blue. These are her colors. These are her colors. And then we were just talking about that the beautiful nurturer and how we have that within all of us, the water. We are like 70% water. And now, actually, I don't know if you know this, Jane, but I've been co-teaching a women's leadership intensive at the Omega Institute. This is going to be our 12th year. And at the beginning of it, I was gifted a song to be sung to the water in 7 different directions. It's an indigenous song from the Algonquin region. And I've been teaching hundreds of women this song because right now, only 1% of the water in the world is drinkable. And so it's the divine feminine. It's our job to raise the vibration and pray for the waters. And so like this is the rise of what we're seeing now. This is our work. Like I feel like this is a mission is to really heal the waters, the sacred waters.
So the song. It's directly addressing the waters.
Yes, it's so beautiful. Next time I see you, I would love to share it with you.
Oh my God, I want to hear it so
I know, I
bad.
know. It's well, there's one thing. It has to be taught oral tradition,
Mm-hmm.
and we
Mm-hmm.
can't share it like
Broadly.
online or anything. So it's
So,
like
but we could do it. We could do it one on one. You could
we
teach
could
me
do
the
it.
song. Oh,
We
I
can
would
do
love
it, and
that.
I will share it with you.
Thank
And
you.
the viewers of
And we will
it's
be energetically sharing it with the viewers
yes, we
for all
will,
our
we
work.
will,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
actually important to share it. It's one of the few songs that has been shared outside of the indigenous community, this from the Algonquin region, and it hadn't been sung in 150 years because of the oppression of women. And the woman who shared it with me, she had it shared with her by one of the 13 indigenous grandmothers. Do you know about them?
Well, I have heard about them. Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know
So,
them. Yeah.
yeah. So for your viewers, if you can look them up, the 13 indigenous grandmothers they're from all over the world, different bloods, and they had the same dream. They didn't know each other. And the dream was that the earth is dying. She needs our help. We need to raise awareness. So they found each other. They all found each other and they toured around the world talking about Mother Earth and how we need to take care of our mother.
It is such a different kind of consciousness, you know, whether it's you and I sharing pictures that your mother and my daughter did, and taking the drumbeat into the ocean in Costa Rica, or the grandmothers, or this song, everything that we're talking about, that we're turned on about, that we feel passionate about, is collective. That is not patriarchy. It
That's
is not patriarchy. It's
that's right.
something, it's a really different way of thinking, and it requires reinforcement. When I was in my, I mean, you're doing this all the time, so you're, you know, forgive my beginner's wisdom around this, but I was in this circle of women last night, and I've been in more women's circles recently. Some I've hosted, some I've attended. And I was realizing that this is kind of home base, that that the circle is a structure. It's not the kind of structure that I grew up in, or that I thought that I was to create. Like, the first, I think of, in a way, you know, part of my life that contained my dark night of the soul was this sort of setting up the life that I thought was the successful life that I should create, you know, which was the, you know, the successful husband, and the house that looked like this, and the, you know, the career that looked like this, and all of the sort of, you know, checks in the success boxes. Um and but feeling in my bones something wasn't right, you know, that I was disconnected to the little Scottish witch that was in me, and something else, you know, something that felt more organic and true and soul connected. So it took a long time for me. And I mean, I'm still on that journey because it's not really reinforced all around, as we mentioned at the beginning. But as I do more of these circles, one of the things that comes to me is, yeah, this is a structure. The gathering of women in a circle is a structure, or just people in a circle, right? But it's a structure, it's a different kind of structure, because every time I sit in a circle, I'm going to stick to women right now because that's just what I'm thinking about. But as I sit in a circle of women, the women change, the size of the circle changes, I change,
Mm.
but we gather and we gather and we gather, and there's this commonality, and there's this wisdom, and there's this opening, and there's this kind of allowing, and it's a different kind of a structure than I was taught was a structure of strength and safety and stability and community. It's different, and it's starting to feel so reassuring to me, because I'm starting to realize, wait a minute, I could do this with women all over the whole world and have this experience of togetherness, and like the stripping away of all the nuts and bolts of who you think you are or should be, and basically be like, oh yeah, we all are, we all suffer, we all yearn, we all connect, we all have joy, da, 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 you know, like, and it becomes more musical, and it becomes more flowing, and it becomes more like water,
Mm-hmm.
you know, some like raindrops or something, you know, there's these sort of this feeling of yeah, just movement within structure. And I feel like this is a kind of like anti-patriarchal kind of understanding
Mm-hmm.
that's dawning
Yeah.
slowly
Yes.
in me.
Yes. Yes.
So I don't know if you have anything to say
Yeah.
on
Thank
that,
you for
but
sharing that. I would love, love, love to. When we first started teaching Afro Flow Yoga, it's all downloaded. So I started teaching kind of people who are in lines, like usually, mats straight. And then Spirit was like, you have to put people in a circle. So I just started putting people in a circle. And then learning more about the circle, particularly in like African and indigenous cultures, a lot of villages are structured in a circle. And the reason for that is, number one, you can see each other. There's trust built there. You can, and the most vulnerable go in the center, right? So those on the outside are vulnerable. And then also, like, we're heart to heart. So growing up in Toronto and still having that Afro-Caribbean culture in my family, it's like I walk down the street, I still say hi to people because that's like a village mentality. Like you don't walk past somebody and not acknowledge them. So it's still in my bones,
You
you
must
know.
get busy in New York City.
Yeah. I've met so many friends in New York. It's Boston that people are like a little their heart. You can feel their hearts a
Yeah,
little
that
hard.
makes sense.
But I
Yeah,
still smile at people.
yeah.
Occasionally
Good,
I'll get a
good.
nice smile. But
Yeah.
the other thing is that when we do ceremony, and this is one of the things that I learned from the song, this sacred woman song, is that we have the circle, you have the feminine, and the masculine energy actually protects the circle. So the masculine, so it's like, you got the fire, it creates the container for the water.
Mm.
So it's not like, oh, we got to push away the masculine. In fact, it's like, how do we come back into sacred alignment in that structure? So you think of like
Mm.
that container, and then you fill it with the water and all the
All
all
the
the
juice. Yeah,
juice. Yeah,
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 yeah. I like that. Thank you for bringing that in. Even as a kind of, even as an idea, I feel like next time I'm in a women's circle, the idea that the masculine could be around the edges is that's
Mm.
a really nice idea.
It's so powerful when we do
And
it.
non-otherizing to the masculine, which is so important, right?
Right,
To hold
right.
that space, even if you can't see it in front of your
Yeah,
eyes, that it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. In fact, if we go with the idea that we are the creators, which, hey, I kind of believe that. So,
yeah,
so let's dream it into being, along with the return of healthy water. Let's
yeah,
dream into being the return of the healthy masculine. It is showing itself, I believe, and I do think that we have a big role in it,
totally.
inviting it in, creating it in.
Yes, totally. And I want to say about the song, we've done it with men. Well, and I
Hmm.
have to be careful with this whole gender thing because some people identify as
Yeah.
masculine. We have it within, I'm talking about the masculine. So we've done it with those who identify as masculine around, and they've cried because their backs
Mm.
are to us and they can hear the songs. And I've had so many people like just blown away by that feeling of being a protector, and it's just
Mm.
like a whole other level of oh my gosh, it's so amazing.
That sounds so beautiful. Gosh.
Hmm.
I can't wait
Yeah.
to join another of your circles.
Yes,
So good, so
we
good.
have one coming up. By the way, we're
You
going to be
do?
in Santa Fe. Um,
Okay, when's that?
yeah, that's coming up soon. It's April 7th to the 14th at a place called Modern Elder Academy. We're doing a Women Thriving Beyond Transition, and
Oh,
I'm so excited about that. It's
that
going to be a
sounds
beautiful.
amazing.
Yeah.
Before we sign off, I'm definitely going to want you to share how we can find you.
Mm.
But there's a couple more questions before we
Yes,
get to them.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so celebration, like where does this fit in?
Celebration,
Yeah.
just in general celebration,
Yeah, just like
every day, all day long. You know,
let's
it's
talk
like,
about celebration.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I am so grateful. Like, I feel like the practice of gratitude, doing it for so many years, it really like maybe at first it's a hard thing, but it's like something that I've really learned. Like, I just do it when I wake up, and it just fills my cells and my organs no matter what's happening. Like, I mean, I felt it, of course, when I'm in Costa Rica. When I was in Costa Rica, Jeff and I were waking up in the mountains. We could be naked, like we could
Mm,
sleep under the stars. It's like that kind of celebration of just being is amazing. And
yeah.
then coming back to Boston, it took me a little bit, but now I'm like in that because I feel so grateful. Number one, for my ancestors, for what they have sacrificed. Like, coming through enslavement, like unbelievable. Like, to be here and to understand what they have been through is like, I should be celebrating. Like, I mean, celebration is every day. It's like I'm like so freaking grateful. And I know we're facing a lot. of challenges right now. It feels like we're going through a human initiation. I feel so prepared for it. I'm so prepared for it
You
because,
are. That's why I was like, I'm not letting this one go. I
right,
saw it. I saw it. I was like, she knows. You
I'm
got it.
so prepared. I feel
Yeah.
like this is the
Yeah.
assignment. Like this is why I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I signed
Yeah.
up for it. I'm like, take me. I'll
Yeah.
go. You
Yeah,
know.
you have a clear sense of purpose, and you wear it very gracefully as well, which is it's a beautiful combination. So we can look back and see the ancestors and like untold amount of suffering and preparation, let's say, and building towards this moment. And let's now look into the future and tell me your heart's desire for the future of your work and what you're
Mm.
going to help do on this planet in this lifetime.
You know, it's all connected because I see like for humanity, I see for humanity like that is like the vision of like our interconnection and harmonizing and taking that leap of consciousness. I feel like we're like, okay, let's take that leap of consciousness out of this 3D
Mm,
dimension, this three, where we're like in this triangular
mm,
structure,
mm,
as you say. And I feel like, for myself personally, on like just on a personal level, continuing to do that work. I'm writing a book right now, and it's a love offering to the world, to humanity, relationally. Also, being able to keep myself centered and grounded and rooted in gratitude and vibration of love and joy and abundance and all of those things. It's like being the drop of water. So, for example, at the beginning I told you, Jane, some of my friends, our dear friends, are going through terminal illness, and I feel like having the capacity to be able to be there for them and be there for the people that we serve in our healing circles. I feel like so grateful for that, and then hopefully, like the drop of water, that energy will continue to expand.
I believe it. I believe it. And furthering this celebration motif, if
Yes.
your heart had a party, what
Ooh.
would it be like?
Ooh, well, it'd be something like this. Like having like
Yes.
I'd imagine just like having the collective humanity. Last year we were at the Envision Festival and we had hundreds
Mm.
of people in our circle, and we were all like in
Oh,
this
wow.
flow.
Hundreds of people in a
Yes,
circle.
yes,
Beautiful.
it was amazing. And then it was like we were sharing, sending love to the divine feminine. All the feminine were in the circle and they were crying and receiving. And then the masculine were in the circle. We were sending love to them. They were crying. They were like, I was like, are you ready to let go of the patriarchy? They were like, yes. And they all were hugging and crying. I like that's in that moment I wasn't even there. I mean, I got out of the
Yeah.
way. There was some force.
Yeah.
So that to me, that is the party, being in that collective beauty where we're, feeling the divine flow of life force and spirit and creator and all of creation. That's kind of party.
Sign me up.
And you're probably I want to at some point, not now, but I want
Yeah.
to talk to you more about your lineage because I have a feeling we might. Did you say you're Scottish?
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I realize that might be
I
another.
know.
Whoa, dude. We definitely, there's something going on, isn't
I
there?
know. There's something with us.
The
I
Scottish mother is
I can't
calling.
wait to
Whew.
uncover that with you.
Okay, we're gonna have to go to Egypt and Scotland and the whole
Yes.
thing now. Busy, busy women.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh my God, thank you so much for coming on this show. It's just such a pleasure talking to you, and it's so inspiring, really. And tell us where we can find you if you want to be found.
Yes. Yes. Jane, first of all, thank you so much for having me. As soon as I met you, we just connected right away. It was just that beautiful magnetism. So Afro Flow Yoga is our website, www.afro. You don't have to have an afro to come to Afro Flow Yoga. Jane will tell
But
you.
you can.
But you can. You can
You
be just
can.
come as you. There is no judgment. No, just come as you are. Flow like the water, Afro Flow Yoga. And that's our website. We have online classes and courses. We've created some beautiful new courses in Costa Rica on the beach where we were, Jane.
Mm.
And we have a rest and restore, rise and shine courses. We also do virtual classes. We travel. We do retreats. So as I mentioned, the one in Santa Fe coming up. We'll be at the Omega Institute in September during a whole week of Afro Flow Yoga, the first week of September. We will be at the conferences, the Trauma Healing Conference in May, and then also in Oxford. We're going to be in Oxford in September. And then in October, I'm co-teaching a women's leadership, the 12th year intensive at the Omega Institute. And yeah, and then we'll be at it. We do local things. So we'll be at Albanelli in New York. We'll be in New York in May doing a couple of workshops end of May, last weekend of May. And we're here in Boston. So we do some local workshops as well. And we're going to Colorado
I
in
mean, I'm
two
just
weeks.
sorry you don't have very much going on. What can I say?
We'll be in the mountains of Colorado in beginning of April, April 4th through the 6th. And then we go to Santa Fe. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And we just got back from 2 months from Costa Rica.
It's good stuff. It's good
Yeah.
stuff. Thank you so much, Leslie.
Thank you so much, Jane. You're amazing. Keep doing what
You're
you're doing,
amazing.
sister.
You're amazing. Likewise, likewise. I'm going to
Thank
stop
you.
right now.